Tessa, James, Elliott. To all the non-Murder Drone fans, you probably are wondering, who is Tessa? Tessa is probably one of the most important characters in Murder Drones that can sometimes get overlapped in the whole general story. And similar to V, she does have a tragic story which ends with a tragic end. Hello everyone, this is your host Panzer here from Panzerverse. Now in today's video we are going to be explaining the story of Tessa, and the roller coaster that she went on, and ultimately that led her to her end where not only was humanity wiped out, but very much her soul was forever stuck. Now before we can begin with her childhood, we do have to make one thing clear. No one knows Tessa's actual age. She could be 15, she could be 18, she could be 19 for all we know. For us, and for our assumption, we are going to assume she is 18, similar to the rest of the Murder Drone characters who are in their high teens or early 20s. So, for the purpose of this video, we are going to assume Tessa is 18. Tessa was born in the Elliott mansion to both her parents. We are going to assume her father's name is James. That is something the community has pointed out. We don't know her mother's name, but I'm going to just call her Maria. You're all going to hate Maria later, so I just decided to put a name in. Tessa was always alone. She always felt uncomfortable. She never really had friends. She never really had anyone to connect with. Both of her parents never really had a relationship with her. It was kind of like they hated her. They despised her. She was the opposite of them, which was class and elegancy, when she was more of like a tomboy, someone who'd fool around, mess around, tinker with stuff. And we see this with her worker drones. One thing you need about the Elliott family was they weren't the best dealing with worker drones. They constantly abused them, they constantly mistreated them, and they simply dumped them out like they were trash because of the amount of money they had and the simple fact they can buy so many of them. Tessa, on the other hand, always felt compassionate towards the worker drones. And one of the things that she did was, near the family dump where they dumped all the worker drones, if she found any of them that could be repaired, she took them in. And this is how we got, eventually, the worker drones that we know today. As we know, there's V, J, Sin, and her favorite of them all, N. Another thing we need to know, and this was later confirmed by Liam, was the way that she got the hair for her for the worker drones. She might have done some grave robbing. Remember, this is Murder Drone, so I don't know if that's the thing. It's Murder Drone, so let's just assume it's okay. I just wanted to put that in as a little fact. But besides that, she generally cared about the worker drones like they were her own children. She was like a mother to them, and she generally cared about each of them almost equally, but she had her favoritism. She loved N the most. She didn't like Sin. Sin she liked the least. And then there was J, and then followed by V, who was the forgotten middle child, basically. But besides that, this is where Tessa's story becomes tragic. Pursuit of trying to fix the worker drones. As we learned in episode 4, JC Jensen, there is a chance that a worker drone, if properly indisposed, non-properly indisposed, there's a very low chance, that they can become something known as a zombie drone. A zombie drone is basically having the ability of the absolute solver. I'll touch on this on another video when I do a video eventually about Sin and her story, but Sin was the one who had the absolute solver in her, and Tessa unknowingly had just repaired the one thing that would destroy humanity and countless planets. Now we go into the events that happened in the gala. Her mother, Maria, threw N out. She locked up her daughter with chains, showing the abuse that she suffered through. Tessa, I mean. And she also chained up Jay and Sin. And what we saw was Sin did her transformation and basically told Tessa, hey, you're the one that treated me right. I would not go to the gala if I were you. I'm going to massacre everyone. That's basically what she said, oversimplified. Went out to Tessa, because she does love her parents, went out to try to save them, along with Jay. And during the fight, she fired at Sin multiple times with a revolver. That failed spectacularly. And later on, Sin took control of Jay, locked up all the doors, and everyone was presumed dead, or basically was killed. This is not where Tessa's story comes to an end. No. Sin had a purpose for her. You see, besides Sin killing the rest of humanity, she needed some way to disguise herself when she eventually had to do stuff. And she basically used Tessa's skin and body as an exoskeleton, almost. Not an exoskeleton, but more like a suit. So yeah, Tessa had the most humiliating fate for, Sin took control of her, basically. And she had to basically see the event, and I'll connect this in the end of how she was able to see these events. She saw because of Tessa, humanity was destroyed, multiple planets were destroyed, and millions of millions of worker drones were killed in the end. But in the end, you want to do something for the kindness of your heart. Now, this doesn't mean that you shouldn't do things that are kind. You just have to be careful that maybe your actions could have some really negative consequences. But adding upon that, we also see that Tessa has to see Sin basically puppet around and basically mess with what were her children, basically. And in the end, was she freed when Sin was killed? We assume yes, but you're probably wondering, okay, well, if she's dead, how does she have to see this? Well, in the music video Forever, we see Tessa, basically Sin in Tessa. And it talks about how, she is stuck in the corpse. It's her endless pain that she suffers through forever. Those are not the exact lines, but that's basically what I'm trying to simplify it to. In the music video, which we are going to consider canon, because until Glitch assumes it's not canon, anything that's officially released by anyone that's officially affiliated with Glitch and with Murder Drones, we are going to assume is canon. She's basically stuck. She was never given the mercy of being let go, of having or moving on to whatever afterlife there is for her or whatever there is. She was stuck with Sin, seeing everything. That is probably the worst fate for anyone, and especially the worst fate in the entire story. I think most people would have rather chosen death at that point than choose what Tessa went through. She went through ultimately the worst fate in the entire series, and she could still be trapped. But what we're probably going to assume is that in the end, Uzi did free her. She was able to, destroy Sin's core. She was till then, Tessa was pretty much just a puppet. That's what makes Tessa's story tragic. Unlike Jay, where you kind of don't feel bad for her in the end, and she could have made decisions that could have altered it significantly. Tessa, you ultimately feel bad for because, but in the end, like V, whose punishment was just standard isolationism that she could have fixed, Tessa's was, but in the end, never move on. She was stuck with Sin. She saw the destruction. She saw her own family get murdered. She saw countless millions, even billions of people be killed. So in the end, her story is the most tragic to everyone in Murder Drones. So in conclusion, this is kind of turned into a negative video, but in conclusion, Tessa has the worst fate in all of Murder Drones, and it's not really overlooked, but it's also not examined more than it should be. So that is all I have for you all today, folks, but before you all leave, I got one important message I gotta say. I'm recording this on Christmas Day. Why? Probably because I don't talk to my family that much right now, but also because yesterday on Christmas Eve, I was given a Christmas miracle, which was finally reaching 100 subscribers. I've been doing YouTube since March 3rd of 2020. After 5 long years, alright, after almost 5.5 years. It's going to be 6 soon. I finally reached 100 subscribers. I want to thank you all for subscribing, and as I'm going to say, my next subscriber goal is going to be, hey, let's try to reach 1,000 subscribers by the middle of 2026. So I hope you can all subscribe to the video. I would love if you all liked it. Hey, go check out my Eva video and my Has-Been video. Those two haven't been doing that well because most people like murder drone stuff. Please go check it out. They're pretty good videos. Shorts people, I'll have your shorts ready, you know, because y'all want your shorts. But in the end, hey, like and subscribe. Hopefully we can reach that goal. I will have my 100 subscriber special by the end of 2026, or actually, not the end of 2026, the end of 2025 to the beginning of 2026. Yep, I said that correctly. Okay, I'll see you all later. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you all later. Panzer out.